John Updike died on January 27, 2009. He had been for many years one of America's most eminent literary men, a novelist, short story writer, critic, poet, essayist, playwright, and much more besides, a towering figure in our literary landscape. In October, Mr. Updike came to the Times building, and he and I sat down for an extended conversation about the craft of fiction and the art of writing.
I don't really think of myself as writing stylishly. I think of myself as trying to write with precision about what my mind's eye conjures up. So if out of this the sentences become shapely and vivid, that's great, but I'm really mostly concerned with trying to deliver to the reader my images and my sense of human behavior and of landscape. As to an individual voice, I have written in the first person. In the end, it becomes a kind of a trap. One wouldn't want to call the masterpieces of first-person fiction monologues, but there is that danger always of never getting outside of that one voice and that one head. Philip Roth has quite a gift, which has grown of really imagining other people, other than a bright Jewish nice boy who isn't content with being nice. This character certainly recurs an awful lot, to the point that you begin to feel on the edge of claustrophobia. But he also has freed himself up to write about other people. I guess that's my sense of the writer's mission as a member of society, is to try to empathize with other people, get away from yourself insofar as one can get away from yourself, and don't write about writers. Don't write, indeed, about intellectuals, but try to write about ordinary people.
How is it that you, as a novelist, project your characters into situations you yourself might resist?
Well, maybe I'm secretly drawn to them. Having taken Flaubert's advice to live as a bourgeois, live as one of the bourgeoisie, I envy the people who are less bourgeois than I. And, you know, we all have anarchic impulses. Rabbit Run, of course, was about the anarchic wish to kick over everything holding you back and run. He was a runner. He had a moment of grace when he was a star athlete, and he's trying to recover that, so he's really on a kind of a quest. Anyway, it's kind of natural, I think, for a writer to try to make the characters think things and do things that he doesn't think or do. It's exciting that way. Write about somebody who agrees with you entirely, or even to try to figure out what you do believe, I think is a kind of a waste of time.
You review Toni Morrison's new novel in the latest New Yorker. Short story not long ago. Are you writing another novel now?
I'm trying to move one along. It's very sticky. It makes me wonder if I maybe shouldn't hang up my spikes as a novelist. But it involves research, and although I complain about other people's historical novels, I seem to be attempting one, just to see if I could do it.
When is it set?
It's set in the 1st century A.D.
Oh, really?
And not a century I know much about, but I'm trying to learn as I go. And I guess it's all educational. Maybe I'm too old, though, to be educated, I'm beginning to think. However, yes, I'm doing that. And as you say, I have kept up trying to keep my name in the New Yorker as a reviewer. And after a long drought as a short story writer, I was happy to have them take 2 short stories recently. It makes me feel like a real person somehow to get a short story into the New Yorker. Maybe because that's where I began as a writer who could actually make a living. So if I can't write short stories, it's a kind of impotence that I resist.
Having written so many books over so many years, you now look back and see periods when you were writing particularly well. Do you feel your powers are not amassed as thoroughly as they might have been at an earlier time?
I think there comes a moment when you're still full of material untouched by you, but fresh in your mind and seeming urgent. This is your life, this is what you know, merges with enough skill to get it down, and that That moment tends to occur in American writers somewhere in their late 20s or early 30s. We're a nation of burned out talents, and I always thought I'd resist that. I'd be like Henry James and just write away and use my head and be patient and productive and emulate Henry James. But it's not so easy. There's a way in which the American writer is a sort of a priest. Hemingway had it. Those youthful things, the two youthful novels plus the short stories are really quite, they're treasures of our literature. I still try, and of course I have no experience in that. I'm aging. I also should be, I think, wiser. Don't people get wiser as they age because they know more? What they leave out of that equation is that you also forget more. So yeah, I'm not sure it's a net gain. But no, I'm not ashamed of my later work, but I do feel a certain energy, unforced energy, in the early stuff. And the first Rabbit Run is still the novel that people associate me with, even though the latter three, two of them won Pulitzer Prizes and were generally, reviewed better. But Rabbit, it's nice to be, as a writer, somewhat knowing but also kind of naive, because out of the naivete comes the sense of wonder. It's wonderful to be able to describe this privet hedge in Pennsylvania and how the guy about to leave his wife runs his hands across the privet hedge. I mean, that sort of detail. Your ability to care about that kind of detail, I think, slightly diminishes. I don't think we ever valorized any life stage beyond youth in this country. So we're all failed youths. That is, we were best then. Life had more savor then. We were more glamorous than all ages ago. We don't believe, I think, in, this is very full of generalizations, but we don't believe in the wisdom of the aged. They don't have a village wise man, and especially now that so many people live forever, even less so. They're Parkland and nursing homes and old people's homes. So, and you feel that in our great writers. Certainly Hemingway and Fitzgerald. You can't say Faulkner, but those two, their idea of happiness is to be young.